I will leave it up to you guys, though. So I'm being asked for my predictions on the game here. So far, coming into this, it looks like for Season 9 so far, Escape Artists are an undefeated 2-0, with Kick-Ass Patrol coming into the match having won one game and lost one game. So I'd say there's a slight favorite to Escape Artists, but I opened up a poll. Feel free to vote away, vote for yourselves, as I'm sure both teams are represented here, and we'll see what the crowd favorite is. And while we're doing that, let me switch over the overlays here and get ready, as we are now heading in to the game. Taking some admin measures here, getting rid of some of the monster cat bots and that sort of stuff, while the game takes 15 minutes to load. Oh, Reborn, you are so fun.
Dire Team ban.
Alrighty, so we
Radiant
are
team
live
ban.
into Game 1 between Escape Artists and Kick-Ass Patrol, aka KAP. My name is Darmin, and most of you are watching live on twitch.tv/DarminCast. Thank you for stopping by. Feel free to spread the word, tell your friends, family, loved ones to stop by the channel, check it out. I know that we have some players coming in from Toronto, and apparently the Blue Jays are playing, and you know, those crazy Canadians, all about their hockey. So we're gonna lose a few viewers to less important sports like hockey over Dota 2. But that aside, we have a decent collection here, and hopefully it picks up as the games progress.
Team pick.
So far, to kick things off, both teams know who they want to ban, and they're burning through them pretty quick. From Kick-Ass Patrol, they're banning out the Undying,
Team pick.
the Shadow Fiend. So I'm not exactly. I don't think that's quite their normal ban structure. I know Undying's pretty common, but Shadow Fiend is a bit of an odd choice here, I think, or a bit unorthodox for their typical ban structure. Then on the other side of the fence, you have Escape Artists banning out to the Winter Wyvern and the Invoker. So both teams banning out some mids that they're particularly afraid of by the looks of things. And Kick-Ass Patrol with their first pick up the Gyrocopter.
Dire Team
Escape Artists picking up the Tusker Dazzle. Dazzle is one of the most predominant supports being played right now in the Dota 2 meta, or in this particular Dota 2 meta. And it's pretty easy to see why. It's all about this skill right here, Shallow Grave. And it not only, you know, gives a hero immortality, but
Dire Team ban.
It synergizes very well with a bunch of different heroes, including the Tusker. So now the Tusker can snowball in, and even if he's snowballing in alone, it provides some nuke damage. But if he sucks in a couple additional allied heroes, the Poison Touch, the Shadow Wave from Dazzle is going to heal everyone who pops out of the Tusker snowball and nuke whoever the Tusker rolled into.
Reserve time.
But to counteract the Dazzle pick, Kick-Ass Patrol pick up the Axe, And of course, his Culling Blade cuts right through the shallow grave. So if Dazzle's trying to cast it on somebody that Axe is going up against, it's not going to do much. It'll be more or less just a wasted skill because his ult goes right through it and insta-kills. The second round of bans start up, and you have a Silencer being banned out by Escape Artist, a Slark, Phantom Lancer being banned out by Dire. The Phantom Lancer is a bit of an odd choice given that they have a Gyrocopter and an Axe already, because both of those heroes have pretty significant AoE damage that they can toss out between Flat Cannon, the Call Down, and just Axe's spinning helixes, or his counter helix, and his natural build, which gives him plenty of armor to kind of negate some of that physical right-click damage coming from the Phantom Lancer and Slark. The second support being picked up by Escape Artists. One of my personal favorites, the Disruptor, aka Disruptor.
10 seconds remaining.
What I particularly like about him is he's amazing at controlling the tempo of a team fight. So, be it glimpsing back heroes that are trying to escape, throwing down kinetic field just to keep a fight in a specific location, or even using kinetic field on the ramps that kind of lead into and out of the fighting territory. So, for example, if the two teams are clashing in one of the rivers, there's always one or two ramps up and down the rivers that you can just completely block off with that kinetic field. And obviously kinetic field and static storm are just made to synergize with one another. Yeah, grab a bunch of people in an AoE and then nuke them all down. Earthshaker, though, with his fissure, has some of the same capabilities in terms of controlling the tempo, especially when he gets his Blink Dagger. Blue Jays is baseball, not hockey. Whatever the Toronto hockey team is. I don't know.
5 seconds remaining.
I'm a proud member of the US of A.
Reserve
and I follow hockey in so much that I root for the Blackhawks, and then I celebrate every year when they win the cup. So, hey, that's my in-depth hockey analysis. That's why you don't see me casting too many hockey games or baseball games on the Darmin Cast channel. It's much more related and focused on esports, but hey, to each their own. Blue Jays, Maple Leafs. Being asked if there's going to be any Luna tonight, and of course there's a 4-minute delay, so I have a bit more intel than you guys, but I'm certainly not expecting a Luna, especially with Lifestealer and Gyrocopter already being what I presume to be the hard carries for both teams on the board. Luna is a fun hero, especially in pubs, but as soon as you start going up against any sort of organized team play, you have to be very careful with her because she's so squishy for such a long time. I think Gyrocopter as a hard carry is better in the lower MMR brackets just because he scales and builds a lot like Luna, but he comes online much faster. So pretty much all you need with Gyrocopter to start taking team fights is that level 6. Luna, yeah, her ultimate is
10 seconds remaining.
Pretty devastating if you get in a one-on-one situation and you've been leveling up Lucent Beams and you haven't taken much damage, so you can stand there and more or less channel the ultimate while you're fighting whoever you're fighting. But Gyrocopter, he can just teleport to whatever lane, throw a call down, catch someone, and chase them down.
Dire team ban.
The person he will not be catching too often, though, is Lifestealer, because of that enrage. He's got the built-in BKB, so Even though
10
Gyrocopter comes
seconds
online pretty
remaining.
quick and starts getting aggressive, Lifestealer will have
5 seconds remaining.
the earliest of early BKBs and
Reserve
be able
time.
to just hit the Q button and run away. Depending
Radiant
on, of course,
team
how he
pick.
builds, but I'd be shocked if he doesn't put at least 1 point into Enrage before Gyro hits level 6. Last band's coming out. It's going to be a Queen of Pain, Wind Ranger. I didn't talk too much about the second round bans from Escape Artists, but Silencer and Omni
10
Knight,
seconds remaining.
both big global heroes.
5 seconds remaining.
The Silencer ult I've seen in some matches just play a very devastating role,
Reserve time.
especially when you combo it with a globally built team. So, like Silencer and Spectre, I saw last night in some of the more competitive matches, and that Wombo combo just gets devastating as soon as Spectre gets a little bit of meat on her bones. But for this final pick, Escape Artist, EA, are taking a bit more time, dipping into their reserve time. It's last pick of the match, so why not? And they pick up a
Dire team
Death
pick.
Prophet, my absolute favorite hero. Awesome. I get to see a Death Prophet game. I haven't seen this in like 2 patches. People have pretty much completely forgotten about her. I love her for so many reasons. Number one, I think it synergizes relatively well with this lineup because she'll be able to pop her Exorcism and jump into a snowball with Tusker.
10 seconds
The ghosts
remaining.
are still going to be running around. And then, as that's
5
happening,
seconds remaining.
Lifestealer can Enrage. So right there you have your 3 cores completely immune to most spell damage.
Reserve time.
Like, if they time it right, they can do that and avoid a call down. They can do that and avoid an Echo Slam from Earthshaker. They can avoid all sorts of nonsense, and the whole while that snowball is rolling, ghosts are tearing up the opposing team. They can also avoid the Witch Doctor ultimate. So, Witch Doctor drops that down, and they just all take off. Puck is another one of... Man, there's so many awesome heroes this game. I'm digging this. Gyrocopter, Disruptor, Puck, and Death Prophet. Some of my favorites. But other things that make Death Prophet great, the silence. It's one of the most overlooked components to Death Prophet, I feel. Go through introductions here real quick.
Battle.
You have Fadich playing the Lifestealer, immediately heading down to the bottom lane. Not the one I was after. There we go. You have Stand-In Smoke playing the Disruptor.
Thanks.
Collecting a few items here, and I believe he handed those off to Tusker. Playing my favorite, although rocking 0 cosmetic items, is Otha. Yeah, I am American. In response to the group chat, just now seeing all the hockey versus
30
baseball chatter.
seconds to battle.
Tusker rotating up and getting pinged out here, but Tusker being played by Mortality. Playing the second support role here on the side of EA is Cheesy. And it looks like the start of this game here, the runes are going to be picked up by the safe runes on both sides. But you have Mortality going one-on-one here with Earthshaker, and they're going to wrap around on him. This might be first blood if he's not careful. He snowballs in, but I think that bought enough time for the rest of Kick-Ass Patrol to get in place. Instead of just running backwards, he snowballed, and that gave enough time for T to run up and get the Berserker call off. He might have been caught out with the fissure regardless, but it definitely didn't help him. So the runes go 1 and 1, and Mortality giving up first blood here in the top lane. 2, and that was Earthshaker. So not the worst target to give first blood to, but it will help expedite him towards his Blink Dagger. Now that I successfully caught the first blood, let's go through the rest of the introductions here. We have T playing on Axe. Playing Gyrocopter, you have Silky Johnson. Trying to do a little creep block here. Making use of Clarity Potion. In the middle lane, going up against Death Prophet is Puck. Doing a little harass there with his orb. And they're actually doing a little bit of harass damage here with Dr. Dread rotating in on the Witch Doctor. But I think Puck is a good counter pick to Death Prophet here. He does need to get a point into his Waning Rift at some point just to help add that silence component when he does this. I guess right around Blink Dagger time. There's going to be a lot of Blink Daggers this game, especially on the side of Kick-Ass Patrol. Because I can see T. Oh, Mortality looks like he's going to be going down again. So I missed the wraparound there, but it looks like he did get a little bit too far forward and Earthshaker was positioned behind him. So second death coming out from him. Now he's just kind of he's got the ward there, so he's got vision of him, but meanwhile, as I was discussing, Dr. Dread on the Witch Doctor has rotated into the bottom lane now to help make sure that his ally on T gets a little bit of farm. He had snuck into the jungle and stacked a little bit to start things off. Rotated mid, harassed Otha, and now he's into the bottom lane. So Dr. Dread scaling the map here. Meanwhile, Earthshaker being played by Chickonometry. I believe I'm pronouncing that correct. Also rotating into the middle lane here. And there's the Waning Rift. Oh, but the Fissure catches Death Prophet out on the wrong side. And Death Prophet typically has... Oh, Earthshaker has his Boots of Speed, so he does have the move speed advantage.
A gift from the earth.
But hitting the bottle, hitting the sauce, will allow Death Prophet to get back up to a manageable health, and after she finishes it off, she's actually back to full health, about half mana. So she'll be back to spamming. Earthshaker did pick up the regen rune though, so even though Earthshakers typically have some mana issues early until they get arcane boots or some other form of regen, because Fissure's just so goddamn expensive, he's back to full and looking to rotate.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, both the true core supports are just kind of hanging out in this bottom lane, protecting Fat Itch and making sure he gets his farm. Taking a look at farm, it's paying off for him. So he's sitting with the most last hits in the game so far with 25 and 4 denies. Followed pretty closely by Silky playing the Gyrocopter. And he's been able to make do without much need for support because he is going up against a melee offlaner here. So he's able to just focus on last hits, and anytime Mortality wants to rotate in on him, he has to go quite a ways. But Fissure coming out from Chickonometry is going to be stalled out a little bit by the snowball, and Mortality playing it pretty good. He completely avoided pretty much all of the rocket barrage by jumping into that snowball, And so when that was off, Gyro didn't have much to follow up with except right-click damage. The Earthshaker missed the not Echo Slam, the Enchant Totem stun. So he was able to just toss out his ice shards, block him out, and kite both heroes around, essentially, until he was free. Oh, yeah, Puck rotating to the bottom lane. Picking up the haste rune, tossing out most of his spells, and Shallow Grave is there. He needs to be careful not to stick around for too long, though.
Is under attack.
Oh, but the quick jaunt actually jumps him over to freedom and hiding behind his allies. He is taking quite a bit of damage, though, as he tries to re-engage. Now he's just kind of sitting in the background. And Trigonometry has rotated as well. So far you have Axe falling in exchange for... Did Disruptor die there? I believe he did. So it was 3 for 1 exchange. But in the top lane, that provided enough space. Once Earthshaker rotated down to that river fight, Mortality engaged against Gyrocopter and picked up his first kill of the match. Just looking at the scoreboard there, you see Trigonometry, I believe, picked up one of the... Oh no, it was 2 of them for Puck, 1 of them for X, and Trigonometry picked up the 2 early kills against Tusker. But Otha did get a kill against... I believe that was... X. He got the killing blow on X. Mortality rotating up, catches Puck out, throws an ice shard. Don't know that it was entirely necessary. He also has his Walrus Punch set to autocast. I think really he could have just right-clicked him once, and with Dr. Dread rotating down to get the double damage, he runs into Mortality, who blocks himself off with the ice shard. So now Cheesy is rotating in, and here's some of that control I was talking about, with Disruptor catching the axe out of place and bringing him back to the Tusker.
The Dire just can't resist attacking Radiant's Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So after all said and done, Tusker gets 2 kills there, 1 against the Witch Doctor, 1 against the Puck. He's going to eat a couple stuns here, and here's that level 6 call down, which I'm not sure if he dodged the call down or not, but he didn't take the damage from the second rocket, so that's the one that matters. Puck rotating in, dropping a Dream Coil that catches out too, but Dazzle's there, tossing out heals, tossing out Shallow Graves, and it's going to keep Kick-Ass Patrol on their side of the river, prevent them from diving too deep here. So, looks like a lot of heroes have started to rotate into this middle lane now, and you have the 2 supports facing off against the 2 supports plus the mid laner.
Is missing, according to
now, Death Prophet's back out, and you have a little dance going on. Crypt Swarm versus Phase Shift. And so far, 17 shortcuts. Well, I don't know if I actually announced him at the beginning of the match. So, there's a little shot of 17 shortcuts, in case I did forget him. The Mortality rotating behind the top tower here, being pinged out by Silky. And Earthshaker rotates up, he drops the fissure. I think Mortality is going to jump into his snowball here, as he usually does, but that's not gonna save him for too long. They fall back, and now he's going up 1 versus 3, but The speed is there. And Fisher might have blocked out Silky from being able to get the last hit. Do they find him? Yep, they get him. So Witch Doctor taking the kill there. But in the background,
Radiant's
I missed
bottom
how,
tower is under attack.
Death Prophet died. Looked like Puck had rotated behind her with the assistance of Axe, maybe? But all the while this is happening, Fadich in this bottom lane continues to feast, pun fully intended. And he's sitting at 70 last hits.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
23 above the hard carry on the
must
opposing
summon the
side of the
spirit
cast
to defend their top Radiant structures are
while he is
fortified.
getting the last hits, it looks like
Oh, cover your eyes.
KAP squad are going to be able to take the first tower. Smoke trying to control T here with some glimpses and some kinetic fields, and he will be able to get it off. So they do drop Axe for their efforts, and now they're pinging out the tier 1 tower top, saying, hey, let's even the score here.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Oh, cover your eyes.
Well, 17
Dire's
shortcuts,
bottom
poking the middle
tower
tower here and getting in
structures
position
are
for the 12-minute run as he has an empty bottle.
Radiant's middle tower
Fadich
is
trying
under
to apply
attack.
pressure on the bottom lane, but as a life stealer, you're not exactly the best sieging hero in the game. Tusker catches Puck going for the rune and almost kills him, her, it. But a quick illusionary orb and jaunt away will prevent that
Dire's
from
top
happening.
tower is under
Does
attack.
block him in the trees for a bit until he's able to get a second orb off. But the DP ghosts are out.
Dire's
Trip
top
Swarm is
tower
out. They're going to be
under
burning
attack.
through this creep wave here pretty quick. There it
Dire's
is.
top tower
Fissure
has
coming from
fallen.
the woods from Earthshaker, but I think they need to be careful here as the ghosts are starting to fade. They're fighting into an upheaval. And they don't know where many of the opposing heroes are. So for now they do back. They stop along the way to pick up a few neutral creeps in the jungle. And it looks like Kick-Ass Patrol are pinging out the Lifestealer. They may want to go on this, see if they can stop it. T jumps in against him and eats quite a bit of tower damage, and immediately there's the big support rotation from Cheesy and Smoke to see if they can save him, but the rest of Kick-Ass Patrol are here too, so now it's turned into a 4-on-4 team fight in the bottom lane here, with ultimates being cast by Puck and Witch Doctor, who are now both going to fall. And he does finish off the Tusker before he falls. But overall, it's a 4-for-2 trade, and that drops the Lifestealer and Tusker for everybody but the Earthshaker. Hard to tell if it was worth it. I mean, when you lose 4 heroes, that's a bit rough, but you did finally kill the Lifestealer, which is important to do since he was starting to get a little bit too meaty. He had his armlet, so it's not going to slow down that item progression too much, but it'll keep him from getting going completely unchecked for the first 15 minutes of the match. Now both teams respawning, heading back to base, regenning. Sport's picking up a couple more scrolls. Hopefully just Disruptor grabs another one. Can never be without scrolls of Town Portal. Pretty much anyone in the game needs to have one. But especially as supports.
Magnificently fortified.
Now in the bottom lane you have Cheesy and Otha pretty much laying siege to the tier 1 tower in the bot lane. Cheesy providing a bunch of that improved armor for Otha to stand there and tank everyone. And it looks like he's trying to go in and dive against this Witch Doctor, but as he does so, he's going to be caught behind enemy lines, and it doesn't matter. He has such high armor, and he was able to pop his magic wand, which had enough charges on it to bring him back to a pretty healthy life pool, allowing him to tank there until his ghost re-arrived. Now Puck dives in, drops the Dream Coil, followed up by the call down from Gyrocopter, and it's only going to be enough to drop Fadich down to about a quarter health. Cheesy and Otha both being able to avoid the bulk of the damage. Puck re-engages and he's able to kill Lifestealer, but he does fall to Dazzle in the process. Trigonometry trying to give chase, see if he can pick off one more support and try to even the scorecard. Speaking of scorecard, let's see how it looks in Dota Reborn. I wasn't a big fan of it before, as it seemed to miss a bunch of spells, a bunch of damage and everything else, but it looks like it's a bit more logical now. You can see that 3,500 damage provided by Death Prophet, and the bulk of that being her ghost. It doesn't show her casting it here, but you know that's what that was from. And she was able to Yule's up during the ghost, and between Magic Wand and Bottle charges, keep herself alive through the duration of that engage, even though she did dive pretty deep behind enemy lines in. And Trigonometry actually separated her from her team with a fissure. Looks like you might have a clash here as Kick-Ass Patrol gather in their own woods, and the two cores from Escape Artist get into position to try to gank, and they're going to be able to drop Earthshaker before Kick-Ass Patrol do much. The Ice Shards providing a bit of a wall for them to escape, and a rocket is on its way, but it'll hit smoke and not do much. The call down tried to slow him down, but again, those Ice Shards were there to provide a barrier, keeping the rest of the Kick-Ass Patrol team at bay. Puck blinks in, Axe blinks in, and you have a Dream Coil and a call. Big dunk going down on the Shallow Grave to target. Shallow Grave not providing immunity from Axe, but now Ghosts are up. Ghosts are up every 2 minutes, and they're doing quite a bit of damage. Not quite enough to drop Silky, and now Shortcuts dives behind enemy lines and kills Tusker. They are also going to pick off Cheesy, so that's going to be a 4-for-1 trade. They lost Axe, they almost lost Silky, but in the end, they fared okay.
Dire's structures
Fadich
are
back
fortified.
to doing what he does in the bottom
Dire's
lane.
bottom tower is under attack.
I do have the weather effects going. I don't know how to actually change that. I have it set on random right now. Global items. Let's see if that does it. Nope. Weather effects are stuck on this stormy nonsense for now. So I apologize for that. I like to play with random everything. All my global items are set to random. And I occasionally forget to turn them off for casting, so my apologies. Fadich
Radiant's
with the
courier
invisibility
has
rune.
been slain.
Stalking Earthshaker here. And the Radiant's courier was picked off. I didn't see who did that. I presume it was Puck, who was hanging out at the secret shop, and it had $1,500 worth of, or 1,500 gold worth of equipment on it. Now he's rotating back to his team. He blinks forward, casts the Dream Coil off, and is able to catch out. Oof. Lifestealer, but it doesn't do much. Now Witch Doctor casting a long channeled ult, but it's really not hitting anyone. Then he gets Yuled and silenced by Death Prophet. Cheesy rotating in, going up against T, and T's able to drop the Dazzle before Earthshaker finally finishes off Axe. And so far it's a 1-for-1 trade, Axe for Dazzle. But Otha is on chase here, and the 518 move speed is going to get her uphill. But in so doing, she runs directly into 3 KAP heroes, and because of her move speed, she was outpacing her allies, the Lifestealer and the Disruptor, so she fell before she had any support in position to help her out. Sorry, got some bot stuff going on. The Revlo bot, which is a new bot I'm trying to add to the channel to pretty much track attendance more than anything, I guess. It's a loyalty thing, so if you sit here and watch full Dota game, you get some Darmin points, or whatever I wind up calling them, which you'll be able to use in exchange for making me say or do stupid stuff, be able to request a specific song in the music service or anything like that. So I need to come up with all the reward systems and everything else, but right now, since I haven't fully set it up as a moderator, it's spamming links, and those links are getting blocked by Moobot, which I use to do just basic channel admin stuff. Tusker picking up and immediately using an invisibility rune, so he's going to
The Dire's poor top
sneak
tower.
uphill and provide some intel for his team.
Nigh?
But
Radiant's bottom
Escape
tower
artists
is under
are
attack. Dire's top
spying
tower
out
is
the
under attack.
axe lurking in their woods, so they're not too
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
eager to head uphill with their full team. Now Mortality's rotating top, and he sees that Silky's up here farming, but
Radiant's
I think
bottom
he's trying
tower
to catch
is
out
under attack.
support or something of that nature. But he teleports to the bottom lane here. We have Dr. Dread channeling his ult from the low ground, but from behind them, Oath shows up, silences 3 or 4 heroes, pops his ult. Puck's able to get a Dream Coil off, but those ghosts immediately tear through pretty much everybody on Kick-Ass Patrol, and now escape artists are pinging out Roche, especially with the ghost already rolling. And Mortality has the amulet, or the medallion, so that'll drop the armor even further, and it should be a pretty quick Roche on here. Sigil slowing down the attack speed, Roche and everything else. So Mortality taking a bit of damage here. We'll see who they give it to. It goes to Death Prophet. One of my faves. Definitely can't blame her. Now, she's also finished off the Bloodstone with that money. So, she's got the Yules, got the Bloodstone. Yule's one of the most common pickups for her. It allows her to cast her ultimate and then jump into the air and let the ghosts work their magic while she's pretty much immune. It's like a mini BKB, essentially. Not to mention the additional move speed keeps her zipping around the map pretty quick. Otha went with phase boots in this build. I personally like to pick up arcane boots. I didn't see if she had transitioned from phase boots into, or if she had transitioned from arcane boots into phase boots, but smoke pops from Kick-Ass Patrol, and they rotate forward. They catch Otha out, so it's going to be a quick use of the Aegis, but the rest of her team is right here behind her. And so you're going to see a big clash here. You have both teams casting their ult. You have I'm sorry, I'm completely whiffing on all of the spells right now, but both teams giving chase, T retreating back. Now you have Otha casting a silence against the gyrocopter and popping exorcism. And it's not going to be enough to kill him. He gets out with 20 HP.
Dire's bottom tower
And so
is
she
taking
lays
a
chase to the
drubbing.
Earthshaker, who does fall. So Earthshaker sacrificing himself on the
Cover
altar
your
so
eyes.
that
Dire's bottom tower
Gyrocopter
is
may
taking a
live.
drubbing.
But Upheaval, Death
Storm
Ward,
walls in place. Dire's
Fissure was
structures
cast.
of
I saw a
Dire's
Green Coil in there.
middle
Pretty
tower
much
is under attack.
everybody.
Dire's
Yes,
middle
bot
tower
fight
is
slash
under
sellout.
attack.
They're all dead! They're all dead!
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
T-blinking forward, throwing out a Berserker's Call, but only catching a wave of creeps, no heroes this time.
Dire's poor
Kick-Ass
top
Patrol
tower.
still gonna chase
Can its
them
end
down.
be
Maledict
drawing
being cast
nigh?
as well as the Call down. But Mortality is diving into enemy territory here
Dire's top
with
tower
his
is
snowball,
under
and he's
attack.
going to pay the price for it. The rest of his team following slightly behind him, but not enough to get a return kill or a pick off themselves. But that time it was Mortality sacrificing himself to buy space for his allies to retreat. Else, I think the focused attention of KAP chasing all four of the clumped heroes from Escape Artist would have been a little bit more devastating. Bloodstone has made its way to Death Prophet in its completion. And he's already up to 10 charges. You have some rotations from Kick-Ass Patrol into the Radiant Jungle here.
Dire's bottom tower is
Looks like
under
they're going to
attack.
try to pick off Death Prophet again. The Berserker Call slightly off the mark again, but the Fissure and Enchant Totem were not, so Oathis is just going to use that incredible move speed that's inherent in Death Prophet to get back to her two support heroes, and she's going to be fine. If he had landed the Berserker Call, it might have ended a little bit differently, but with that miss, Earthshaker loses his life as the Escape Artist team come together,
Radiant's middle tower is
support
under
their
attack.
Otha,
Radiant structures are
And now-
fortified.
they're pinging out the
Radiant's
tier 2
middle
tower.
tower
They're all
is
here, they're
under
all
attack.
together. They see one of the Dire heroes hanging out in their jungle, and they see the Witch Doctor here. Otha popping the ult and catching Dread out with the Yules, make short work of him, especially without any sort of Shallow Grave. And now heroes are just teleporting into this tower, straight into the Death Prophet ult. You have Cheesy casting Shallow Grave on
Dire's
Fadich,
bottom
who was sitting
tower
at full
has
health.
fallen.
So
The storm has
even with the
spoken.
misclick there, Death Prophet's
Dire's
completely
bottom
fine,
tower
sitting
is
about
under
half
attack.
HP. Huge Echo Slam coming out from Chickenometry. I keep wanting to say Chickamancy.
Oh,
but
cover your eyes. Dire's bottom
Chickenometry
tower is taking a drubbing.
does a fair amount of damage, but then those ghosts return and Fadich's life steals away, and
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Orb coming out from Puck puts him on the opposite side of the safety of his base, but with phase shift,
Time is running out for Dire's
he's doing
middle
some excellent
tower.
phase shift dodging here, but it's not going to be enough.
If you were Dire's bottom tower,
Because Mortality
you would
chased
have
him
fallen.
down
This
after the
time
Blink
is
Dagger,
running out
and
for Dire's middle tower.
was able to catch him with some Ice Shards and the final Walrus Punch to end the day. So the Tier 3 tower in the bottom lane falling after
Dire's middle tower
this
is
fight
under
recap's
attack.
not going to show much. It shows the fall of Puck, and that's about it. But this bottom fight pretty much included 2 towers, 4
Well, dress me
or
up and call
5
me
heroes
Shirley. Dire's bottom
dying
barracks
on
are
the
under
side
attack.
of Kick-Ass Patrol, as well as the Tier 3 tower, which exposes the racks here. The ranged barracks did take, quarter of its health in damage during that fight. Actually, a third of its health. And the ranged Rax is the one that does not regenerate without a Treant Protector in the game. So that damage is going to be permanent until that barracks falls or the game ends. Looks like Silky's been spending quite a bit of time here in the top lane as much as he can, trying to build up some farms, stay off the map, get some neutral creeps under his belt, and work towards that next item, which I presume is going to be a Yasha. Or not a Yasha, Manta. He's got the Yasha for it. Ping's coming out on this bottom lane. Saying we can't let these NPCs just march in and start beating on our barracks. Arrow drawn from Disruptor here saying, let's cut through the secret shop, see if we can catch someone, then push this bottom lane. Both teams have all of their ultimates, so I presume they're all going to come out at the same time, just to confuse me and keep me tongue-tied. To start things off, here's the Exorcism, Fissure, Ice Shards, Fittich hanging out inside of the Tusker, but does pop out. He pops his Berserker, and now he's eating a bunch of the Death Ward damage coming out from Witch Doctor, as well as some of the call down damage. But so far, 3 heroes down from Kick-Ass Patrol, and it looks like Puck will follow shortly. Unless he can get this blink off, but he gets Yuled by Death Prophet before he does, and that's going to be the end of Puck. So it's a 4-for-0 exchange right now. The Escape Artist team pretty much ignoring all of the creeps, ignoring all of the towers, and just straight chasing heroes, which, if it doesn't work, it can backfire drastically because you have a push in for nothing. But in that case, it took relatively little damage, so they were able to circle back, finish off the barracks, and now they've rotated to the middle lane, armored up from Dazzle's weave, and they're dodging upheaval with a snowball, as I mentioned during the draft, so not much damage coming out from the gyrocopter, and they're going to be able to finish him pretty quick. Chickamancy. I'm just going to start calling him that. Chickonometry. Blinking in, getting a huge Echo Slam, catching a big creep wave and several heroes, is going to set up what will eventually be the hold here from Kick-Ass Patrol, as they are going to be able to team wipe them, having stayed a little bit too long. And that's what I had been talking about, where if you do completely ignore the barracks and just straight dive after heroes, you can sacrifice an opportunity. And in this case, that opportunity is the melee barracks. It got down to 100 health. So had they focused for just a half second longer, done 100 more damage, let's see, what? Disruptor and even Dazzle. So either of those 2 heroes hit this barracks a few times. They're both sitting at 100 base damage right now. Just a couple more support pokes would have been able to yield them a second lane of creeps. Having what they have now isn't bad, because it's going to put Kick-Ass Patrol on their heels for the duration of the game. They pretty much have to dedicate either a gyrocopter or axe to this lane.
Miscreants, evildoers, and other people that I don't even want to mention.
The supports are much more designed to, well, support than to farm creep wave after creep wave. T poking his head into the Roche pit, seeing that it is up. So you have pings out from Witch Doctor there saying, hey guys, we need to keep an eye on this. And they see the split rotation here in the mid lane. They're trying to get in position so they can defend Roche. Good teleport from Gyrocopter, knowing that the Lifestealer does not have a bash yet, and Death Prophet doesn't have one ever, unless she goes some crazy item build. But KAP in the Exorcism, hanging out in this mid lane. Looks like they are going to be able to pick off Dr. Dread here. But Silky kills Lifestealer in the process. The barracks does drop. You have pings coming out from Lifestealer saying, guys, focus on the barracks this time. And I think that's the correct call. Snowball coming in from Tusker onto the X. The last right click from Death Prophet going to make its way over the Ice Shard wall and finish off T as he tries to retreat back to base. Puck getting a huge glimpse. I'm not sure how that worked, but it seemed to glimpse him from his fountain way back to like the tier 3 tower in the mid lane. It must have been some Puck must have had to have orbed and then blinked as soon as Smoke was able to cast his glimpse in order to gain that sort of distance, but still get called back. Mortality trying to keep the Kick-Ass Patrol heroes back in their fountain, but they're going to rotate out and eventually drop him here. No! No, the sick blink into the waiting arms of Dazzle, who shallow graves him, and he's going to be able to escape. But now Kick-Ass Patrol are all respawning, all at a decent health, and these Glimmer Capes don't last long, so they're going to be able...
Oh, look at it go!
Oh, this is dirty. You got the dirtiness coming out from Escape Artists at this point, as they're kind of just kiting the Kick-Ass Patrol heroes around, but T does eventually catch up to the Glimmer Caped Disruptor, blinks in and ults him, so big dunk from him will end the Disruptor. Tusker, who had blinked himself to safety, decided to re-engage, and he paid the price for that as well. But at this point, it is 2 racks to none. This bottom lane is going to be especially difficult for Kick-Ass Patrol because they have to eat through the Tier 1, Tier 3, Tier 2, and then Tier 3 tower just to come close to balancing the flow in that bottom lane. Death Prophet has since finished the Octarine core and is up to 17 Bloodstone charges. Let's see. There's the screen I'm looking for. So you have Glimmer Cape on Smoke. And I could have swore Tusker had one too, but it must have been just a clutch Glimmer from Smoke to save him as he was close to enemy territory here. Get that off the screen as the Roche fight gets underway here. Fetish popping his berserk to pretty much ignore everything from the Witch Doctor and the call down. The ghosts are going to be able to finish off Gyrocopter here as Fetish chases down the supports. Oh, there's just enough time for Earthshaker to reset the cooldown on his Blink Dagger, so he does blink to safety.
Regeneration.
Dire's middle tower has
Missed
fallen.
the kill of
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
the creep waves are just pushing in. You can see this bottom and middle lane have just been completely gutted so far. They might be able to finish Death Prophet here, but with Octarine core and 20 Bloodstone charges, she is pretty meaty.
Dire's middle tower
Puck's able to
is
finish
under
her
attack.
off there with the Dagon, so if you get it down, huge call down coming down. Landing
Dire's middle tower is
on
under
the
attack.
Lifestealer, dropping him, so a couple buybacks from the Gyrocopter, Witch Doctor pay off in the sense that they're able to get a few kills and halt the creep equilibrium. And now the entirety of the Kick-Ass team minus T are marching down this middle lane, and this may be their Hail Mary. Not quite sure what Death Prophet is doing here, running straight into 5 enemy heroes. She does pop a BKB, and there's a pause in the game, but BKB is going to last long enough to maybe let her get out. Dream Coil misses, the Fissure miss, and then she's Glimmer Caped in, and those Bloodstone charges are healing her up very rapidly. She tosses down the Silence, as well as the Disruptor. Silence is going to stop the channeled Witch Doctor. And now flanking in from the sides and down the middle, Escape Artist finish off the 4 heroes that had been looking to make something happen in the middle lane in terms of a push. Axe, meanwhile, just trying desperately to keep the creeps out of their base, away from their near-death Tier 4 tower.
Time is running out for Dire's middle
Ghosts
tower.
on their way
Dire's
again.
structures are fortified.
Octarine Core
Sometimes
plus
I find myself saying, for no
Exorcism
reason
equals
at
a
all,
push crazy
Dire's
Death Prophet.
ancient is under attack. There's a good reason
Axe
to say
goes
this
in
time.
against her, but doesn't do much.
There's something about
GG
Dire's
is called,
agent that just cries
and
out to be attacked.
that was certainly inevitable here, as they were going to take the throne with or without the call. Death Prophet showing why she's still a contender in this meta. She is a pushing machine, and if you can get some meat behind her, you can... And I think Dazzle's a great complement to Death Prophet, because you can shallow grave her and then she just sits there casting Ghost forever. The fight in the bottom lane when she... So, you guys have been listening to or watching the AFK screen. I sincerely apologize about that. As I was trying to find the item list, I must have hit the shortcut key, which took you to the stream will resume shortly screen. Which, now that the game is over, spoiler alert, Escape Artist won Game 1. It's true that the stream will resume shortly.